We always begin with gratitude. So I want to thank you for being here and let you know that I am very honored to have your energy and your presence here in this space. Peace. I am LA licensed therapist, holistic wellness coach and guide, and the creator of this channel, Reconnect with You. If my vibe and energy or any of the contents of my channel resonate with you, feel free to share your comments or share your thoughts down below in the comments. Share the video with a member of your tribe or someone who you feel may benefit, or tune in here as you are now. If you are new here, I want to welcome you to the space, and if you are returning, welcome back. So, are you ready to reconnect with you? If so, come on in and get comfortable, whatever getting comfortable looks and feels like for you. I want to talk to y'all today about something that I think is a little bit controversial, something that I've been wanting to talk about for a long time. I'm super excited to have looked into it a little bit and done a bit of research to be able to share more of my thoughts, but also just more historical context. And what I want to talk to y'all about today is something that I think a lot of people, and in fact, most people do automatically. They do it without thinking and without much consideration for alternatives or how this act may impact someone else. And that is shaking hands. And I want to talk to y'all about that, or I should say why I feel it's important to talk about that is because of bodily autonomy and the importance of bodily autonomy. So if you don't know this about me already, or if you don't know me, one of my personal values that guides my actions and decision making and how I show up in the world and also informs a lot of what's important to me is autonomy. And when I think about bodily autonomy, and as a licensed therapist, I think it is important for me to let you know this, if you don't know this already, that being touched or feeling obligated to let someone touch you can be very triggering for trauma survivors. And I am also a trauma survivor. So this is one of the many reasons why this subject hits close to home for me. I have also held space for so many clients who have experienced trauma, particularly in their bodies, and a big part of healing from that trauma and reestablishing the autonomy within your body is to set boundaries as it relates to your body, who has access to your body, and really reconnecting with, and sometimes creating for the first time a sense of safety within your body. And I'm bringing this up because, we're talking about handshakes on the surface, and I am certain, and this is because I've talked to some people about it, I am certain that this is not even in a lot of people's awareness, that when you go to meet someone for the first time or you're introducing folks, people literally will just extend their hands without thinking, without asking, like, do you want to shake my hand? Is this okay with you? And I don't think it's about people's intentions. I do think that this is a conversation that needs to be had so that as we are out navigating the world and connecting with new people, and sometimes with people that we already know, just keep some of these things in mind. I am also talking about this and feel that it's important because allowing someone access to your body is very intimate, and it is not okay to assume that everyone is okay with being touched, with shaking your hand, with giving you a hug, or whatever the case is. And I know I'm mentioning some other acts, but I do want to focus on handshakes because I think hugs are even more intimate than handshakes, and hugs are more customary for folks who you may already have some type of connection or relationship with. Not to say it's out of the it is out of the question for someone who you're meeting for the first time to reach for a hug. But it is a lot more common for handshakes to be the customary way that we greet folks or that we meet someone new. So that is why I want to talk to y'all about this and why I feel it is so very important. Before I go on, I want to name very explicitly who I am creating this video for, or who I think it is for. And that's for anyone who has ever felt this video is for anyone who has ever felt uncomfortable shaking someone's hand. Anyone who has shaken someone's hand when they didn't want to. And maybe they didn't want to and also didn't know how else to respond. This is also for anyone who is open to hearing and learning other perspectives. And I hope if you are here looking to reconnect with you, that you are more open-minded. So that video is also for folks who would just want to hear another perspective on the matter. And anyone else who wants a short history lesson on handshaking and just why we do it. So that's who this video is for. I want to move next into talking about, like, why do we shake hands? when we meet someone new, why do we shake their hand? And I had to do a little bit of research, and I actually had a lot of fun with it. I think because I have literally been wanting to talk to y'all about this for a long time, but I think wanted to find the right time and also needed to just gather more information and do some research, because even me myself, I was thinking like, well, why do we shake hands? I've never questioned it as much as I do now, and never did any research on it, and any extensive research to just find out more of the history behind it. But handshaking has traditionally been used as a show of respect. So when you meet someone, you're extending your hand to them to communicate to them that you respect them, that you honor them. It is also intended to convey trust. One of the historical facts that I found was that we shake with our right hand typically because you want to communicate to the person, I am a safe person, you can trust me, and I don't have any weapons. Like, basically, I come in peace. So that is one of the historical facts that I uncovered around, like, why did we start shaking hands? And that's to convey a sense of trust. It's also a greeting. It's a way of saying hello or nice to meet you to someone. It is seen as a courtesy. Shaking someone's hand is a type of a courtesy, or a courteous act, I'm going to say. It demonstrates that you have peaceful intentions, and it can also be seen as a way to make an agreement or a deal with someone. So I'm sure if y'all have heard the phrase, like, let's shake on it. And people use that because handshakes have been also used to bind folks in agreements or in contracts. Or to say, you have my word that I'm going to do this thing. And I think one of the biggest things that I uncovered that makes sense and it tracks, because shaking hands is something that we do so automatically. I think we also do it, excuse me, out of tradition, because it's something that we've always done. And again, not many people really question it. It's something that I've experienced personally, or if you were to just go to a networking event just to people watch, excuse me, guarantee you people are just kind of reaching their hands out to meet other people, to greet other people, but not necessarily checking in and asking or pausing and saying, okay, is there another way that I can show my respect or let this person know that I am grateful to meet them without shaking their hand? So that's just a little bit of information, and like I said, just some historical background on why it is that we shake hands. I want to share a very quick like personal story or anecdote. about shaking hands. And so I've been to a lot of different networking events, and it's been uncomfortable for me for a long time that is kind of expected that you shake someone's hand when you first meet them. I also think that it can be frowned upon if you're the only person, or if you're one of a few people who is not shaking everyone's hand, or maybe not comfortable with doing so. You are seen as the outcast, or the other, or the person that is the weirdo, or too different. All of these different labels and things that we can place on folks who are not fitting in, who are going against the grain, so to speak. And so I have encountered it a lot when it comes to introductions, where there's this, I think, a lot of discomfort that I feel like somatically, even in my body, when it comes time to shake people's hands. And I'll be super transparent with y'all. This is something that's taken me a long time to get to a place of setting that boundary and being okay with saying, I don't want to shake someone's hand, and I don't have to allow someone to touch me if I don't want them to touch me. And it's okay for me to set that boundary and have that sense of autonomy within my body. And so when it comes to introductions and networking, especially at professional events or even just in professional settings, it comes up for me a lot. And I will share with you that I went through a phase. I remember, I feel like I was maybe in graduate school. I went through a phase where I wanted to show my handshake off. And that's because a long time ago, my father told me that shaking people's hands, or I should say, women having a firm handshake is like unexpected. When someone experiences a firm handshake from a woman, she means business. She is to be respected. She is to be honored. She's very professional, all of these things, right? And so I went through this phase where I was hanging on to those words. And I wanted to show my handshake off and how firm I could shake folks' hands. And I'm smiling and laughing about it now. But I came out of that phase, and I have since then, like, it's become more important to me not to really be proving anything to anyone, but more so like, how do I feel about different things, and how comfortable does this feel for me and in my body? And I had a situation recently. Actually, I'll hold off on that because I'm gonna get to talking through some alternatives in a second. But that's just a personal anecdote or a little bit of background information about me and kind of how I've experienced this. So, what are some reasons to not shake folks' hands? So there's so many different reasons. I think it is hygienic. A part of it is thinking about germs. And when I was doing my research, one of the things that I stumbled upon was several articles from Dr. Fauci, I think is how you pronounce their last name. And Dr. Fauci basically said, in a perfect world, no one would shake hands. And I agree. I really do agree. Because when I think about all of what I found in my research about why it is that we do it, there are so many other alternatives that might feel more safe for folks, that may also convey trust and respect and things like that, but don't require you to touch the other person. And so I think germs are a big part of it. Germs, and also just the spread of viruses. We saw this a lot during COVID, and I'm certain I'm not alone. I know I'm not the only person that was so excited about kind of having this green light, this collective green light or universal green light to not touch folks, to not shake people's hands. Also to, the social distancing, the 6 feet of distance. I think that should be a thing all day, every day. Not just when there's some type of virus outbreak, but just all the time, really respecting and honoring folks' personal space and personal boundaries. So that's one thing. One reason for it is obviously germs and hygiene. It is also a form of spiritual and energetic hygiene. When you allow someone to touch you, that's an energetic exchange. Now, granted, your energetic field or energetic aura extends a few feet outside of your body, and I won't go into that's for a whole other separate video. But I say that to say that even when you're sharing physical space with folks, even if you don't touch them, there can be an energetic exchange. But that physical touch, that strengthens the energetic exchange between you and that person. And so when we're talking about energy, and let's say you're at a networking event, these are people that you don't know. If you are very, intuitive, or if you're empathic and you are able to pick up on people's energies, like me, more easily, then you may be able to read people's energy and be able to say, I like this person's energy. Their energy feels pure and loving, an energy of light. And so I feel I actually want to shake this person's hand. You can always decide that. But for a lot of people, upon meeting someone, you can't speak to someone's energy, or if they're a safe person to let touch you, or what their spiritual practices are. So that's another reason to not do it, is just related to hygiene, both spiritual and energetic, and physical hygiene as well, cleanliness, and thinking about the spread of germs. So those are just a few reasons of why we should not be shaking folks' hands. I want to offer, I have 6 alternatives that I'm very excited to share with y'all to shaking hands. And the first one is bowing, which I learned is done very commonly in Japan. So bowing, just like bowing your head, similar to how I do at the end of my videos, if you've been here a little while. But bowing your head, that is a show of respect and honor. So bowing, that's alternative number 1. Alternative number 2, and this one can be a little bit tricky, just depending on the setting that you're in and who it is that you're interacting with. But blowing an air kiss, just like that. Blowing an air kiss is another way to kind of show love or respect to someone without touching them. Alternative number 3, I think you've also seen me do this, but kind of the namaste greeting, which is like a Hindu greeting, just like this. And if you want to add the bow, you can. I usually do, again, at the end of my videos. But the hands at the heart center, and that namaste, if you want to say namaste, or if you want to say peace, or whatever the case. But this is alternative number 3, kind of your hands at your heart, just like this. Alternative number 4, similar to that one, but both hands just kind of placed over your heart. This is a very heart-centered gesture. And if you want to do just like a kind smile, or if you want to say nice to meet you, but this is kind of like, from my heart to yours. This is what this means. So that's alternative number. I'm looking at my notes here to make sure I don't forget any. But that's alternative number 4. Alternative number 5 is a peace sign. And I do my peace sign like this. But you can also do your peace sign like this. But you can say peace, or if you wanted to go like that. If you don't want to break the peace sign, you can do it like this, which is why I use this. It's a symbol of unity. But you can do peace, or peace this way, or this way. And the last alternative number 6, is to just do a verbal greeting. You don't have to do any gestures, but just say peace. It's nice to meet you, lovely to meet you, or whatever the case, whatever words you want to use, but you can use a verbal greeting instead. So those are 6 alternatives that you can use instead of shaking someone's hand or allowing someone to touch you or to shake your hand. I want to just talk about some other considerations as I'm thinking this through, because I just think it's important to offer just some other guidance and tips and suggestions, because handshaking is just such a widespread thing, and I think it can be challenging to be in spaces where everyone else is doing something and you're the only one, or maybe, like I said, one of a few who is going against the grain. So one thing that I want to offer you as a consideration, and this is for anyone, if you are here, I imagine you're here because you're open to hearing this and receiving this and to implementing alternatives. But you can always ask, excuse me, is it okay if I shake your hand? Or can I shake your hand? So rather than reaching your hand out with an assumption that this person wants to be touched, they want to shake my hand, you can ask, can I shake your hand? Because you're asking for permission, or rather consent, to touch this person's body. Very important. Another consideration I want to offer you is don't take it personally. If someone doesn't shake your hand, or if someone does not get or understand your boundary around your body, of your boundary of not wanting to be touched, don't take it personally. I know that, and I've experienced this, excuse me, it's allergy season, y'all, so bear with me. I've experienced this and have also supported clients in instances where they may have been on the other end and didn't want to touch the other person or shake the other person's hand, and the other person got offended or they felt rejected in a way. So don't take it personally, or try not to take it personally, is another consideration or something that I want to offer you. The next consideration is be honest about your boundary. If you are one of those people that doesn't like to be touched or prefers to only touch people who you have deemed as safe for, for whatever your reasons are and your experiences have been with them, be honest about your boundary. I've talked to some other folks about this, about like the idea of shaking hands or not wanting to shake folks' hands. And I've heard people say, oh, I just lie and say I'm sick, or I'm getting over a cold. And there's so many, so many different things wrong with that. First, it's dishonest. The second is that you're speaking illness over yourself. I mean, unless you, like, if you are genuinely sick, you should ask yourself and check in with yourself if you should be in that space in the first place. But that's a whole other separate thing. But if you are genuinely sick, and you want to say, I'm sick, I don't want to spread anything, I don't feel comfortable, that's a whole other thing. The example that I'm giving here is saying I'm sick so as not to have to face or be honest with the other person and saying, I don't want to be touched, or I don't feel comfortable shaking your hand. So be honest about your boundary. I want to offer, before we move on to the closing or the ending of our time together, or of this conversation, I want to just share a couple of thoughts for folks who are really struggling with this. So I want to just reiterate that this is something that I am still working on and something that I'm still practicing. I think that for a long time, I have been the weirdo. I've been the one who doesn't fit in. And so I'm getting, I think I'm a lot more comfortable with it than maybe someone else is. But even this is a new thing for me to really stand on it. And I mean, no matter if the other person seems offended, or if they're standing there, with this dumbfounded look on their face, there's just a lot of different things that come up in these interactions interpersonally that can impact how you show up, how comfortable you feel in that interaction, and also just your ability to be confident in whatever it is that your boundaries are. So I want to remind you that you are not responsible for how other people feel about or respond to your boundaries. That's not your business. If you set a boundary, and this applies to any boundary, not just a boundary related to your body, but especially as it relates to your body, because this is your body is your home. This is the only vehicle that you get in this lifetime. And it is important that you feel safe in your body, that you know that your body belongs to you, and that you get to have a say in who has access to your body and who touches you. So you are not responsible for how other people feel about you not wanting to be touched. That's the first thing. The second one is that you do not owe anyone an explanation, ever. But if you see this other person as a safe person, or intuitively, if you pick up on a sense of openness with that person and you feel like you want to share a little bit more about maybe why you don't like shaking hands or how you got to feel that way about it, by all means do that. But again, you are making a conscious choice in that moment to have a conversation with them, not because you need their validation and not because you need them to be okay with your boundary, but because you are hoping to maybe have a learning conversation with them about a topic that they may not have considered before. So that's the other thing that I want to offer you. And I have some prompts for y'all. A couple of reflection prompts. If you're new here, I end each and every video of mine with some reflection prompts. And I have a couple of really good prompts today that I want to offer y'all. So, and this is a fun one. If you could create a greeting that's unique to you, very specific to you, what would it be? What would that greeting look like? I know that I offer 6 alternatives today. It could be a combination of those, or it could be something new. Kind of like I won't say a secret handshake, because it's not a secret handshake if you're sharing it with someone else, but along the lines of a secret handshake, kind of like a custom handshake, or custom handshake, not a custom handshake, but a custom greeting that you create, that's kind of your signature when you meet people. So if you could create your own unique greeting, what would it be? That's the first part of the prompt. The second part of the prompt for reflection or for journaling is, what gestures feel safe, respectful, and aligned for you and in your body? So think about some gestures that feel safe, respectful, and aligned. Well, that is all that I have for y'all for today. I want to thank you for being here, for being open to something that I have not seen anyone else talk about, and also something that I think needs a lot more consideration than we give it. So thank you so much for being here. I hope that something that I shared today gives you something to think about, or at the very least just is a conversation starter for this space or for you and someone else. Well, I look forward to connecting with y'all again soon, but in the meantime, reconnect with you. Peace, y'all.